Now let's discuss creating an assessment in Schoology. Assessments are private between you and the student. They can be used for a test or for a quiz, but they can also be great for formative checks. We're going to go to Add Materials and Add Assessment, which is this blue puzzle piece. We used to use Test Quiz, but Schoology is getting rid of this feature, so I'd recommend us starting to move to adding assessments instead. Okay, like usual, we have a lot of options to fill in here, but the only things that we absolutely need are the ones with the asterisk, so name, category, and scale. So I'm going to name this Day 1 Check-In. And in terms of a category, if I wanted this to actually be a test, I could create a new grading category and call it a summative. But for this one, I just want it to be a formative. Notice submissions disable. This means that right now kids are not going to be able to access the quiz and see any of the questions on it. This is something that you definitely want to keep disabled if you're actually giving this test as a summative, which means that right before you give the test, you're going to have to come in here and turn it to enable in order for the kids to have access to it. You can also do the enable from until option, which would allow you to select a date and a time where it will be enabled and then a date and a time where it will be closed. I usually, though, would just wait until it was time to take the test and then hit enable from my computer. In this example, I'm creating a little check-in that's going to be a formative check. So I'm going to keep my submissions enabled since it doesn't really matter if kids see it ahead of time. It's not an actual test. Password is currently disabled. If I turn password on, then I enter a password that kids would have to type in order to access the test. So that might be something like pizza. Kids would have to type in pizza in order to access the test. So this is a great test security measure. I'm going to keep my password disabled in this example. So I'm going to hit create. Okay, and notice at the top there are 3 tabs: Setup, Questions, and Attempts. So right now I'm in the Setup tab where I have instructions that I could give the student. So in this case I might say, take the assessment and then view your results. Take it again in order to try to increase your score. Okay, and there are a whole bunch of options here, some of which I really like, some of them I don't like as much. The first option has a time limit. So this would be like a clock appearing on the student's screen and the clock is counting down as they test. So if I said yes, I could assign how many minutes I wanted them to be able to access the assessment. I find that this gets really murky, especially for students with IEPs, so I like to keep the time limit set off. Assessment questions are randomly ordered. This is great if you're giving a test that doesn't really matter what order the questions are in. That way, what is question number 1 for one student might be question number 7 for another student. Something that you have to be aware of here, though, is making sure that your questions don't refer to a previous question, because then your questions are going to be scrambled and that's going to mess that up. I'm going to keep that set to no for this one. Show possible points. That one I don't really care either way, so I'm going to keep it at yes. Students can flag questions for review. That means that students can go and say, like, I want to return back to this question to review it later. I really like that feature, so I'm going to say yes. Students can eliminate answer choices. This is an ability for students to cross out answer choices that they know are definitely wrong. I love this feature. I'm going to switch that to yes. Math teachers, this is great that you can use a calculator. This isn't going to involve any math, so I'll keep that at no. Same for the ruler, I'll keep that at no, and protractor, no. I like the ability for students to be able to highlight text, so I'm going to keep that yes. Now this student settings option, this is going to depend upon how you intend to use the assessment. So if you want this to be an actual summative assessment, then you're not going to want students to see their results at the end. You're going to want to keep this first one as no. Because if you show students their results at the end, they'll be able to cheat more readily. But in this example, I told kids to view their results. So I'm going to need to turn this to yes. Now notice that there's yes and yes with correct answers. If I select yes, it's going to show students what they got wrong. If I say yes with correct answers, it's going to show them what they got wrong and what the right answer actually was. So I'm going to select yes because I still want them to take a second attempt and try it again. Same thing with number of attempts. If this was an actual test, I would only probably give them one time to complete it. But in this example, I want them to take it again in order to increase their score. So I'm going to set it to 2. But I could set it as high as 20 times if I wanted to. I'm going to set it to 2. I'll hit save to put those changes into effect. And now to switch over to writing the questions, I'm going to have to hit this questions tab at the top. Over on the left-hand side, I have a whole bunch of question types to get started. If you are brand new to creating assessments, I would recommend just sticking to multiple choice for now. So I'm going to select multiple choice. And I'm going to ask a question like, okay, so there's my question. And then I have options where I can type in possible options. So I'm going to say blue, green, purple, if I only want there to be 3 options, I can hit this X on the right. If I want to add an option back, I can hit option, the plus sign. So I could have as many options as I want over here. A great feature is this distractor rationale, which would allow me to explain, yes, this is correct because, no, this is wrong because. So this would give kids really great feedback if you're using your assessment as a formative check like I am. For now, I'm going to turn it off though. Okay, so that's where I start to build my question. If I scroll down, I see this correct answer setup. So for a multiple choice question, what that looks like is you indicating which answer is correct. So for me, it's blue. If I wanted there to be multiple correct answers, I could check this multiple responses, and then I can indicate all of the responses that are correct. If I want these answers to shuffle, so blue might be first for some kids, but red might be first for other kids, I can hit shuffle options. And those are really all of the features that I would recommend playing with. So I hit save. And now here's the question that I just created. So I can continue that way. I think multiple choice questions are really easy to set up. True false questions are really easy to set up. Short answer questions are really easy to set up. Now notice though, if I do a short answer question, and I want this to be graded in the grade book, the multiple choice questions are going to grade themselves. The short answer, I'm obviously going to have to hop in and grade. So these Schoology assessments are going to save you a whole lot of time where you could just go through and grade your short answer questions if you wanted to. Okay, I can hit preview, and I can see what this attempt would look like from a kid's perspective. Review their work, finish, and that's it. And then when I hit the attempts feature, if I had students in this class, it would show me who has started the quiz, it would show me who got what grade, and that's the tab that I would go to for grading purposes. So that is a quick tutorial on Schoology assessments.